are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about mental health in relationships. I think that's a really important topic to talk about, and I do feel like it's something that you and I have practiced like throughout our relationship.
Right?
As well.
It's such an important part of exactly.
Yeah.
It's such I feel like every relationship has cornerstones, and ours is like transparency and honesty, mental health,
It's definitely
individualism,
one of those. Yeah.
another one, and then family.
Yeah.
Like if
No, it's-
any one of those things were to go wrong, I think that would probably shake the core of our relationship. But yeah.
Say what you wanna say to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning.
What's up, guys? I'm Alano.
Hi, put my boobs here. Hi everyone. My name is Khanya. Welcome back to It's
Look,
Friday.
your boobs look good.
Right?
Your boobs look good. Yeah.
Guys, I'm flat-chested, right? So we need to seize every moment. Every moment. I really love shooting videos for the couples channel.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
And I
so
really
much
like
fun.
doing it like this as well. Like, I love the whole situation that we've got going here.
No, I think we must switch it up and leave the mics out and use the other mic sometimes. No.
Maybe, probably.
Well, what do you guys
What
think?
I've learned as a married man is
Oh my
that the wife is always right. So definitely, let's do it.
As a disclaimer, don't sue us.
We are definitely not
Psychologists,
psychiatrists,
therapists,
any medical health
counselors.
professional.
This is not
This is
advice. This is a conversation that we are having about our experience and our relationship.
Yeah.
What you do with that, and we're not saying you must do anything with it, that's on you.
Yeah.
My angle with prioritizing mental health is I don't want to be unbearable to be around. That's
No, that is as good a reason as any.
I don't want what I'm going through to negatively impact other people. So even because I feel like I started my mental health journey when I was in grade 11 or 12, really taking law of attraction seriously. And what was nice that in matric I had my own room, so I could meditate alone and like I could really figure it out by myself. And that's always been my thing, is that I feel like other people need to really work on developing who they are, right? And then bridging the gap between who they are and who they want to be. And then I just was like, this is hypocritical if I don't make those changes myself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when it started for me. It's always
Yeah.
been a big part of
Yeah.
my life. We actually sat down and made points about this, and then we're gonna elaborate on them. But I brought my points in, like I said to him, what do you think has really helped our relationship when it comes to mental health?
Yeah.
And then I asked myself the same question, and then we put down our answers. So my answer, which is the first one we're going to start with, is that you need to recognize that your mental health is not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
100%.
And I feel like that's been really, really important for us. You need to take complete responsibility for your own mental health, and that goes two ways. It's to make sure that I'm not unbearable, and also to make sure that if you are unbearable, I'm able to do what needs to be done to protect my mental health.
Yeah, I mean, just because I'm struggling with anxiety doesn't necessarily mean that it always has to be your problem. Like,
Well,
you
not
can't
problem,
always
but
be
I can't be the solution
the
all the
solution
time.
to all it. Yeah, like at some point, like I would have to deal with that myself.
Yeah,
and I specifically bring up anxiety because I do have some anxiety issues as well.
Well, mine are worse than yours.
Like I have been diagnosed
Me too.
with anxiety. I think that's what it is. Before. So in terms of our relationship, like I know the signs of when like I'm becoming too anxious. And I also know the signs for when I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack. I get once a year for like the last 10 years, once a year, like clockwork. But I know leading up to it that something is going on, and I just don't think that it's always your responsibility to comfort me in that place. Like at some point, I've got to learn how to comfort myself as well. You know.
I don't know. Look, I do feel that I am your support and you are my support. But again, that is support.
Yeah.
I have to spearhead this ship when it
Yes.
comes to my mental health,
Yes.
and you need to captain your ship when it
Yeah.
comes to your mental health. But I know that you'll always be my co-captain. And then also I need to be able to come to you and be like, I think this is the problem, and then you need to be able to come to me and be like, you're making, like, your behavior is actually a little bit erratic. Because I think with mental health, if you don't take responsibility, you don't even see your own red flags.
Yeah,
You
that
do-
is
you
true.
do not
that
see
actually
your
leads
own red
into
flags.
that leads into the next point actually. The next point is all about unlearning old behavior and essentially learning like new behavior through new experiences. I am not a psychologist, but I do read up on in that space. And there's this theory in psychology that the first 7 years of your life is the most important, and they essentially explain that some of the like emotional issues or decisions that children experience during that time, it really shapes who they become as an adult. And it becomes very difficult for them to change that behavior because that behavior almost gets saved and it becomes your automatic response. Like if you're not thinking and you're just responding, it always draws from that
Knee-jerk,
one.
yeah.
Your knee jerk, exactly. But you can change that behavior, but it takes a lot of work because you need to form new connections in your brain, right? So, and the only way to form new pathways is to do something over and over and over and over and over until that pathway becomes an automatic response.
Like
in
an
itself.
override?
Yes. So that's what I mean is that like you have to unlearn a lot of stuff. So, and what's crazy about it is you have to unlearn things that you used to think was true. That's what's so difficult. So when you and I started dating, that was definitely something that I struggled with in the beginning because I'm the man in the relationship. These are things that are true about the man in the relationship. And it took me like 7 years, bruh, to be like, oh shit, like that's not true, that's not true, that's not true.
Yeah, no, I can hear that for sure. And I do also think, because as you were talking, I was like, no, that's been a massive part in why our relationship has worked. Because I feel like if you hadn't unlearned those behaviors and you hadn't created new experiences that would support the new habits you want to pick up and the
Yeah.
new beliefs you want to have, I don't know if we would have made it. Because I feel like there's a lot of men that are set in what they believe is the role. We should make this into a video, like gender
A
roles.
separate video.
Inside
Okay,
of
let's
marriages,
do it.
yeah. But they think that there are specific roles that people should play, and then when you don't, and it's based off of nothing but the fact that I'm a man, right?
Yeah.
But it's not even I'm a man as in there's criteria. It's just biologically I'm a man, therefore I deserve this. No one like I've seen useless men that are not bringing home the bacon, that are not supportive, that don't provide any security, but they expect the wife to be the perfect homemaker.
Yeah.
You've got to pay for that. Like, show us the Merc, show us the white picket fence. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're insane.
There was
you want
actually
me to
a
be
thread.
The perfect at home
Yeah.
Susie homemaker, whatever. And then you must also.
Yeah.
No way. Because I actually believe in that. I think people that want to play those gender roles should find each other and therefore find their happiness.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe in that. But I also think that is not the only way a
No,
relationship can be.
100%. Like you cannot expect to have the wife be like the homemaker, but then you don't play up to the role as like the dude that brings home the bacon.
Security,
Yeah,
stability.
like-
Let's go. Let's
No,
go,
100%.
baby.
Like if she has to play that role, then you have to play the role that goes with that role.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Sorry, that's also a whole different.
Yeah, that is an entirely different video. One of the big things in our relationship, because we work together, like we started, this is like our third business that we started together now. And I said this in the last video, but I have this tremendous fear of failure.
Yeah.
And that fear of failure comes from disappointing my parents. Now, no one ever called me a failure when I was a child. Like my parents are very loving and very
Yeah.
supportive, right?
Yeah.
But somehow I got it into my head that if I don't succeed, then my parents are gonna think that I'm a failure. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm
that is
sure-
something that my immediate knee-jerk reaction to challenges is to be like, I'm scared that if I try this thing, we're going to fail. And that's something that I've had to unlearn over the last 7 years, to the point where now, like when we have new challenges, I'm like, yo, like let's go, let's do this, right? Because like, you created new experiences. Like you took on a challenge that you were scared of, then you succeeded at it, and now all of a sudden your programming is telling you shit, new experiences equals success as opposed to fear.
Do you know how much adventure we've had because he unlearned that, and how much more we've been able to experience and try? And yeah, it's exactly as you said. He was just very, very scared to try anything in case he was, first of all, either going to inconvenience someone in general,
Yeah.
or he was going to fail and therefore be a failure.
Okay, hit it.
I put here: know if or when to listen, and know if or when to help.
Explain that
What I
shit.
learned.
Explain that shit to
So
me.
the first part, know if or when to listen. Sometimes people vent to vent and they don't actually mean what they're saying. And I feel that I made the mistake, which did not help our relationship, of oftentimes taking you seriously. Like, if I was to come up with an idea that might be outlandish or risque or something like that, and then, or it might be really, really great, but then your knee jerk was to be like, no, we can't do that, that's gonna be difficult, that's not a good idea, whatever. And I actually internalized that.
Yeah.
But what was happening was what you were just talking about now, which is that you had not unlearned that behavior
Yeah.
at the time, and that you were protecting yourself from failing.
Yeah.
And it didn't help our relationship, because then I was like, damn, maybe he's right, because I think you're a very good person. And I don't think you would sabotage me on purpose or us on purpose. It was just a knee-jerk reaction, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it wasn't even you actively trying to sabotage anything, really and truly.
Yeah.
So I should have not listened. I should have let you get it off your chest and gone about my merry way, which I do, I would say, most of the time. It's just there were times when for some reason I didn't do that, and I should have done it. And I think it would have been better for us if I had. And it
Yeah.
would have been better for your lessons as well if I had, because then you would have seen, this thing that I was scared of was actually fun, or it was okay, or we failed and nothing came of it.
Yeah.
It would have helped us both.
I am the venter. Like, I'll
Yeah.
vent because I need to get it out.
Yeah.
So what I won't do is I'm not gonna yell and swear at Khanya, right?
No, not at all.
But what I will do is I will talk very loud about how dissatisfied I am with, like, this person decided that I wasn't good enough for this specific grant, for instance, and then I will just be in the bathroom, like, brushing my teeth, being like, fuck that guy, how dare he say that I'm not good enough for this grant, like, doesn't he know how many people I want to help with this specific idea? Fuck that guy. Like, that's me. Like, I just, like, I vent.
And I don't vent at all.
And Khanya doesn't vent at all. But if I vent, I'm not saying, Khanya, help me. Like, I'm just venting, bruh.
So that is the second part, and know when or if to help.
Yeah.
Right? Because he would come with like a 10 out of 10. Shit's hit the fan. This is bad. Fuck this guy. No. And I'm like, oh my god, we are in hot hell. I need to troubleshoot and fix this now. And then I'm like awake at night like this, and he's like,
Like,
because
sleeping.
he's
'Cause I got it
vented
out.
and got
Yeah.
it out.
I got it out of my
It doesn't
system.
mean he wanted me to fix it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by the point of know if or when to listen, and know when or if to help, because you think you're helping and your help is very unhelpful, Khanya. So
Yeah.
now what I do is that I go, do you want me just to listen or do you want me to help? And he does the same. And then he'll be like, okay, what can I do to help? And then I'll do the same thing. And then you're like, no, nothing, I'm just venting.
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
And then it's like, deuces, okay. And that was the thing, like, the communication was the hardest thing that we struggled with, especially in the beginning. And this issue around mental health and who the other person is, like, it played such a huge part, because for me, I came from a very, like, you got to put your head down, you got to graft, you have to pay your dues until somebody recognizes that and then gives you what you need, right? That
Which is
I was
unfair.
essentially
I think
no,
a lot
it's
of
not
people
unfair.
can
I mean,
relate to that.
there's lots of people that have gotten
And something
serious
is true.
success doing it that way, right? Like, you go to school, you're the best in your class, then you get a scholarship to go to university and you're the best in your class. Like, it's always about working, improving. And Khanya is not that. Khanya is like the opposite of that. And in the beginning, I was just like, this person is too positive. Like, shit. Because it made me feel like everything was like a wishy-washy dream, right? Not a real solid reality. But it was because, like, the way that I was brought up and raised, number one, as a man, Number two, in the culture that I come from, was very different to your experience.
Here's why I don't believe in this hard work narrative, and I know you don't now either. But no,
No,
bro,
I do,
because
but-
I see. No, that's not true. Believe it. Otherwise, you would be up at
No,
6 a.m.
that-
You know,
yes,
like
yes.
it's just not true. We believe in smart and consistent work because some of the hardest working people I
That
see
we
and come
know.
across
Are also the
are
ones that struggle.
Struggling.
Yeah.
So I think that smart work mixed with privilege and opportunity is what has gotten a lot of people ahead. And I mean, for example, Oprah didn't have any privilege. Like she talks about openly. She never had privilege, never had this privilege, but she sought opportunities.
Yeah.
And you can't look for opportunities whilst you're busy working hard to make someone else's dream come true.
Yeah, that's 100%.
like it's just not true.
That lesson
you have to work
took
on
me,
yourself.
guys. It sounds so simple, but that lesson took me 5 years to learn.
It's a massive lesson.
It's a huge, because it's a tremendous mental shift in how you look at yourself and the world around you.
Yeah.
It's the ability to see opportunity where you used to see problems.
Exactly.
And
I
that is
wasn't
a
being wishy-washy.
massive- No, she wasn't being wishy-washy. Eventually, I came to realize that she wasn't being wishy-washy. But in the beginning, dude, I was like, oh no, my girlfriend believes in the law of attraction.
So this next one is know your boundaries. Know what shit you're gonna take from yourself and what you're not, and then what shit you're gonna take from your partner and what you're not.
Yeah.
Because that's part of protecting your mental health. And he's had to sit me down and be like, oh yeah, cut that out. Like I'm not I'm not taking that.
Yeah.
You can leave that.
Yeah.
And I've had times I'm just like, uncle, I'm not doing that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to tolerate any of that, and then he just has to respect it.
Yeah.
And we're all the better for it.
The difficult one is when you don't know.
That's what I'm
That's-
saying. You need to know your
Oh my god.
You need to
the difficult one is
consciously-
when you don't
when
know.
you don't know.
So yeah, like when you're constantly so for instance, you're spending so much time helping other people that you never have time to do the things that's important to you. Nobody sees that as a boundary, but it absolutely is.
It is.
Because it means that you're doing something now and then someone comes calling and then you drop what you're doing to go and do that. And I suffer from this 100%. And it was a boundary that I needed to learn so that I could enforce to be like, no, I'm not going to do that now. I will do it, but I'm not doing it now. I'll do it in like 2 days or whatever because I've got X, Y, and Z that I need to do. That was something that I struggled with for a long time as well. But I'm
You
very
know
good
what's
at it
interesting
now.
about being in a relationship and knowing your boundaries? You don't only enforce them with yourself and your partner, you have to enforce them with everyone else around you as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll discuss something and it's like hard, but we have to enforce it within our families. We have to say we're actually not going to do this, or this is how we want things done. And that's our hard
Yeah.
limit as a couple.
Yeah,
Because
the
you
wedding,
struggle.
the wedding tested that, hey?
Alano struggles with
Shoot,
this a
the
lot.
wedding tested that, hey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I'd say to him, that's not actually acceptable because we as a couple decided this, and that is my boundary. Once we have made a decision as a couple,
Yeah.
we have to enforce it, and it's not comfortable. There's someone that I had to specifically say, he's not coming to my wedding
Yeah.
because we had agreed that
That person
that
wasn't
person's
gonna
not
come.
coming, and I had to go communicate that to the rest of my family, and that wasn't easy. Like a lot of people wanted him to come. I was like, he's not coming.
Yeah. Period.
Period.
Yeah.
So that is, you have to, but I wouldn't have been able to do that or say that, I guarantee you, a couple of years ago. I would have been like, oh, but he's family, and you
Yeah.
don't do that to family, and you do whatever. You need to
Yeah.
know what your boundaries are, and then you need to be able to be like, I'm not going to tolerate anything outside of these boundaries.
Yeah. Those boundaries are there to give you a happy life or
Yeah.
to protect you or whatever. Like, people don't just set boundaries for the sake of setting boundaries, right? If you're setting a boundary, it's obviously because it's the difference between happiness or unhappiness, productivity, unproductivity, whatever. Like, once you set that boundary, like, do not allow people to cross it.
Yeah, and then also you have to learn to advocate
have
for
to.
yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean this as a couple more than anything, actually. But for your own mental health, you can't assume that the people around you are going to advocate for you first and foremost, because they are people. They're allowed to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
So you need to be the one to come in with your perspective and what you need mentally in order to have. I mean, it's our wedding. We're allowed to enjoy that day and be comfortable, and that's not selfish. And I had to unlearn that because for some reason I feel like my wedding or my birthday or things that are supposed to be around me, it's okay to make them about other people. It's like, no.
Actually,
they're allowed to be about you.
That's the one day a year that I'm like, no, my birthday is the one day that I'm like, no. And the last one.
I love you, but I'm not a psychologist.
Yes, the last one.
That is the last
I love you, baby, with all my heart.
All my heart, babe.
But I'm not a psychologist.
I'm not a psychologist.
And I'm not a psychiatrist.
I'm not a psychiatrist.
And I'm not a guru.
Or a therapist.
Or
a
any
counselor.
of the above.
Yeah.
You do need to go and get some help. Like everyone, I honestly believe that everyone should see a psychologist.
Everyone should be seeing
whether you
a
are
therapist.
whether you're going through stuff or not going through stuff. I have seen a psychologist twice now in my life, and
Only?
yeah, only twice.
I've had like 10. I believe in psychologists, okay? That is
Yeah,
my
that too.
movement. Those are my people. I'm just like new city or new issue, or I went with this one for 5 sessions, not really feeling them, so I went to the next one, and then they understood me more. You know what's interesting? I think maybe there's a dynamic when it comes to picking a psychologist. When you are a woman of color, like my previous one that I left after 3 or 4 sessions, because she was great, except that I couldn't connect with her because she didn't understand my experiences. So I would talk
The
to
nuances
her.
of being a black woman in South Africa.
So then I would talk to her about, some of the perfectionism that I might struggle with, or some of the when I'm hard on myself. I think it's because during high school I knew that I always had to overperform to get the same amount of recognition, and that if I made one mistake, then the teachers and staff tended to come down harder on me. And it wasn't me as in Khanya, it was me as in black girls.
Yeah.
She didn't get it.
She just
She
didn't
didn't get it.
like.
She was like, your school sounds terrible. That never happened in my school. And I was just like, how would you know? She was like, well, I mean, there was a black girl. I'm like, one? There was one black girl, and you thought that she never suffered any So then I said to her, you don't know because she never said anything, because she didn't want to be further alienated.
Yeah.
And no black girl would hear me say that and not understand.
Yeah.
Whereas I can understand how white girls wouldn't, right? Like, how would they know?
Yeah. We're living in South Africa, like it's not. Guys, we had apartheid like in my lifetime, in my father's lifetime, in my grandmother's lifetime. The shit just ended. The odds are much higher that is the reality of what went on at the psychologist school than what she says.
But yeah, so I think that sometimes, to get back to the topic at hand, I think sometimes people like to treat their partners as their own therapists who should be at their beck and call and resolve all of their problems and have all of the answers, and that's not true. And not just not true, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
I know you'll know who I'm talking about. There's someone who's gone through something and they were taking advice from people who were their age, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, about something serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's dangerous. You need to reach out to the specialists. They do know more. Like, there's a reason that they are qualified and experienced,
Yeah.
and read reviews and get personal recommendations from your friends. It's really important. You can't put that on your partner. It's not fair.
No, it's not. I love you.
I love
But
you.
I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist.
A psychologist.
Kiss.
See you guys
Thank you
next
so
video.
much, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.